Hello everyone. One of the most common topics of our discussion in online forums is studying abroad and doing a master's abroad, whether it's worth it. And one interesting twist to this question is whether doing a master's abroad and coming back to India, is it worth it? Now, this is a question I see over and over. Now, let's take the first part of the question. The first part of the question is, well, why do people go abroad to do their masters versus doing it in India? There's one primary driver here. A lot of people think of going abroad as a one-way street. Doing a master's abroad, especially in some of the Western countries, means you get a study permit. After that, you eventually get a work permit because you've studied and done your master's. You're much more valuable to the economy, society there. You get a work permit. And eventually that work permit gives you a longer term stay permit or a green card. And eventually you get to naturalize stay there. Now that is one category of people who think of the masters as an opportunity to go abroad, live abroad. There is the other category of people who think of doing a master's abroad as something that they want to do to enhance their skills. So let's look at this category of people who want to do their masters abroad and eventually return back to India. Within this, there are four categories of people in my mind. The first is those with very strong business, financial, or professional ties back in India. For example, people belonging to a lawyer's family. They want to do their masters in law or study law in the West and eventually come back and join the family practice, or accountants, doctors, or those with very strong business ties, starting from the top echelons, the Ambanis, the kids of some of the top bureaucrats. They want to go abroad, enhance their skills, and eventually come back because they have very strong family ties that will help them start their business or their ventures back in India. The second category are people with a bit of patriotic desire. Those who think, yes, I want to come back to India and start a venture or take part in the growth opportunity in India. Shah Rukh Khan's movie Swades was one such example, where this guy, the protagonist, goes abroad, eventually joins NASA as a project manager, and has that strong desire to come back to India to be a part of the Indian dream. Now, the third category of people are people who want to start a business in India, or want to be a part of the India growth story. Now, that's another category of people. And for these first three categories of people, the strong desire to come back to India is the catalyst. Doing their studies or the masters abroad is the icing on the cake. They come back with that exposure, that experience, and are able to leverage that international background, exposure, and network while they thrive in their chosen careers or professions here. The fourth category of people, one such category I fall into, are the people who go for the Western dream, study there, eventually settle abroad, but eventually the pull of the family is so strong that we think of coming back. For example, I moved back to India a few years back when my parents started aging. My father's health declined. I had gone to the West, spent 2 decades in America, had sizable savings, and had done my master's there. Had a professional career. The career was helping me grow steadily. I was making 6 figures in America. But the pull of family eventually brought me back here. Now, did the masters change that equation? To some extent it did, but not to the extent you think. Because masters for me was the icing on the cake. But it wasn't the driver for me to come back to India and get a job. Because what helped me get a job here was my professional network, my professional background and experience in managing technology, managing complex aspects of information technology. So now I'm an enterprise architect working for a multinational based in India, where my master's is valued but is just the icing on the cake, but is not that full cake in itself. So these are the four catalysts, four reasons why people might decide to come back to India. And the masters may or may not be the only driver for you to get a job or progress in your career in India.